You're about to hear the story of how Mike Glover got labeled as a domestic terrorist by the FBI. See if you can catch it throughout what he says, because I couldn't. But let's get into it. Coach Colin, coolest high performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcasts and videos you love, hit that subscribe button. Let's go.
We do it all. For example, we just did a family preparedness program called 62, named after the Homestead Act of 1862. It's a long-form online course, 12 weeks long, where we teach people in the academics how to jar, how to defend yourself, how to treat a wound, how to maintain situational awareness, all that shit, which is very comprehensive. We even teach people how to homeschool their kids. I mean, homeschooling your kids up until recently wasn't a thing. It's increased, I think, 10% since 2016.
It increased a lot during the pandemic.
Increased a lot during the pandemic. That 10% is like $56 billion of savings to the American taxpayer. And a lot of people are insourcing this, but these tools that we teach breed self-reliance, where you don't have to depend on systems and institutions. You could depend on yourself. So it's all that.
What program do you use to, like, when you're saying you teach how to homeschool your kids, like, what are you using as a curriculum, and like how are you devising that?
So Amber, we have an app coming out in June. I have a book called Prepared that launches, and we're hoping to have the app finished by June 6th, which is D-Day when the book drops. When that drops, what we hope to have on the app is the core curriculum of academics required for in-home education. It won't translate across all the states because some states are stricter on homeschooling than others. In Utah, you could teach your own curriculum as you want. Where Amber lives in Louisiana, the same thing applies. So math, science, arithmetic, all the basic skill sets are going to be taught on the app, and then including ideas around self-reliance, like how to make a fire, how to build a shelter, what happens if you're wounded or you get in an accident. All those things we want to teach, similar to what Tim Kennedy is doing at his school, but doing it for the online homeschool mom. That's also preparedness education as well.
So how did it come up that this was being labeled by the government as potential terrorists?
Oh, Lord. Oh, man.
Because when I read that, I was like, this has got to be a mistake. Like, this has got to be just a misinterpretation of what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So I will say this. When I thought I was being suppressed, and then people were like, yeah, but, it's just your analytics suck or whatever. I was like, yeah, it's probably that. I was being optimistic about that. Well, when Kyle Seraphin, have you heard that name? He's the FBI agent who leaked the documents of militant violent extremists, MVEs, that were determined by the FBI of being people and groups of interest. I knew it was a reality. This just recently happened. This is probably 6 months ago. This just got leaked. So let's back up like a couple of years. When I started a group called American Contingency, the idea for that group was coming from the issues in Chaz. Remember Chaz? Like that little shit community. They basically blocked off a city block in Seattle.
Yeah.
And a rapper did that. And the police told the community, the police chief told the police through an email, we will not respond to calls in and around the area of Chaz unless it's a mass casualty event. So there were law-abiding citizens who were getting affected by politics, coming down on law enforcement officers and telling them not to do their damn job. So when this kind of evolved, I said, I'm going to start a group called American Contingency where people can depend on each other. They could help each other out. So that kind of manifested itself into a group, a forum, and the FBI analyst that was doing open source searches on intelligence discovered the group and determined that we were extremist and labeled us so. When he did that, he contacted Facebook. The FBI contacted all these social media platforms. My company account got shut down from Shopify. Shopify said, you have 48 hours to get your information and you're gone. So a multi-million-dollar business, gone. No way to get it back, no way to contest it or fight it because I don't have millions of dollars and a lawyer to fight it. 48 hours to offboard it, and it was gone. The FBI also told Facebook banned us on all the traffic. American Contingency got banned, and all the shit got shut down. Suppressed for years and thinking like, what the hell is going on? I had an insider in Facebook who just got laid off during the Meta layoff. He actually, 4 months ago, before he got laid off, I said, hey, can you look into American Contingency, a community-based group, a freaking group of good Americans helping each other in a time of crisis, natural man-made disasters. I said, can you see if we can get our account back now that this thing's leaked and they've determined I'm not a domestic terrorist? They call me a white supremacist. There's actually an article on a leftist, wrote like a 20-page article on a leftist organization. It's like a .org. USA Today published it. And when the national media picked it up, it spread like wildfire and everything got deleted. When that happened, I said, hey, is there a way that we can maybe get our stuff back? Because they're saying we acknowledge it was a mistake. These guys and this guy, Mike Glover, is not a terrorist. He looked into it and got a response from the India team, from India, that was managing my account that said, we looked into it and he is a domestic terrorist. And we cannot free up this account because he's been labeled a domestic terrorist. How that got determined was likely from the FBI telling everybody, but it still exists today. I mean, today it still exists, and I'm walking on eggshells.
So you today are listed as a domestic terrorist.
A domestic, on Facebook, which translates to Instagram, I am listed as a domestic terrorist. I have the screen grab from that conversation from Team India. Ireland was managing my account when it originally got deleted. They offboarded to India, which obviously there's going to be cultural issues there. I am still labeled a domestic terrorist group with American Contingency, and myself labeled that as well.
Wow. So it is a wild story and it is a wild accusation, but I actually get it. So now think what happened with Chaz, the fact that they stepped in as a group called American Contingency, that is probably the thing. Like, I mean, and obviously in his story, he's saying that is a thing, but that's going to be a thing that's going to get you labeled as an extremist. Even though it is the most pure-hearted thing. You want to help other people who are being affected by something that's almost like gang-like what was going on in Chaz, right? That's what did it. And then, oh man. But then it's like, if you look into the guy, he's just teaching people how to can food, how to be prepared. Not if anything happens, like if a natural disaster happens, if a hurricane rips off the roof of your house and hits your neighbor, and your neighbor's leg is has a 8-inch gash in it. Like, he's just teaching people how to survive in situations like that. It's just, I can definitely see both sides of it. I mean, the guy's clearly, he served 20 years, ex special forces, ex CIA. Worked with the CIA. Like, this guy obviously has a deep respect, reverence, and love for America. And then just that one thing that he does, which is that American Contingency thing, that just kind of throws all that other stuff out. And I think that's the really sad part in there, because the guy is just, obviously it's a company and it makes profit, but the whole goal of the company is to just help Americans become better, become more resilient, become more self-reliant, which is a good thing for the country as a whole. Because let's say something did happen from another country, a country did something to America, and everybody was in this state of needing to now rely on themselves, their communities, their families. You want everybody to be prepared. You want everybody to be able to act accordingly and adapt quickly and, show that America is this resilient country, that you're not just going to, do whatever you want to, and we're just going to fold and just lay down. I don't know. So I definitely get how it happened, but it's sad that it did, because this guy doesn't deserve that. I mean, if you watch the whole podcast, great guy, intense guy, been through a lot guy, but great guy at the end of the day, And you also have to add into this, because a lot of people will see this and be like, oh, this is just complete bullshit. Can't believe this. There's also this side. We don't have access to what the FBI has access to. Just saying, we don't actually know what they know and why they decided to do that. They might know something different. I don't have the technology to tap anyone's phones or get into their emails or get into their messages. Those guys do. So who knows what they actually saw? And again, I'm not on the side of that argument. I am on the side that this guy is completely innocent and just a great person. But you do have to see it both ways. Like, there could be a little something we don't know, but what we can see on the surface is an upstanding citizen of the USA. So, I don't know, man. You decide, though. You decide. You saw what he just said. You saw all the things. You heard all the things that he was saying went down. You decide. Does that make somebody a domestic terrorist? Because at the end of the day, I guess a domestic terrorist is just a threat to the country. But is he a threat to the safety of civilians, or is he a threat to something else? Hard to tell. I mean, not hard to tell, actually. I mean, he's definitely not a threat to civilians. He's an asset. I don't know. That's all. I'm out.